where were you when you kind of started? And what are some of the things you put in place? And what was the where did you like transform might be too strong a word, but have significant improvements in your business that you can share with people so that just like they learned from Julie to ask better questions.
Absolutely. And this might take all afternoon because I've learned so much. But first of all, I would say I agree with everything that Julie said. That was outstanding. I would echo that or ditto that. 30 seconds or 20 seconds on me so you know who I am. I've been in recruiting for over 15 years. I'm very specialized. I've been with the program about 3 months at this point. I'm a sole recruiter. I do have one full-time research analyst, and I'm very specialized. I only place agricultural loan officers in the upper Midwest. I guess a few things come to mind. First of all, on the mindset side, it's been invaluable. As far as, I took a few notes here. Both on the mindset side, both personally and from a business performance standpoint, it's been wonderful. I like the fact that Mike or the program not only talk about the numbers and the dollars, but also a personal side of living that's been invaluable. As far as Frances, she's been great. What comes to mind is looking at limiting beliefs. I thought I really didn't have any, but the more I'm into this, I do have limiting beliefs. The program shows you how to identify those as well as how to challenge yourself and come up with ideas that if you do want to change, here's what you need to do. And along with that, it's a real liberating or freeing type of experience. On my side, I've hovered around $300,000 a year in billings, give or take 25, 50,000. That's real consistent. And I've always felt that that's where I was as a recruiter. I don't know why, but it was a limiting belief. I'm at the point now where I'm thinking, wow, why did I believe that? There's no reason I shouldn't be at a $400,000 or $500,000 level. And I really do believe that. And it's really because of the Recruiter University. The other thing I limited myself was, for some reason, I should be recruiting $80,000 to $100,000, maybe $120,000 a year jobs. I know people trust me, my clients trust me a lot, and I'm thinking, why am I not looking at the $150,000 or $200,000 jobs? That's coming into my mind. Why? Yeah, of course I can do that. I mean, that was a limiting belief. And the other thing is, most of you know there at the university know that I would like to live abroad 6 months a year. And it was a dream, a vision. It sounded cool. And at this point, I'm believing that's absolutely going to happen starting next year. So from a mindset standpoint, it's been outstanding. Frances, thank you. Mike, thank you. If you'd like me to go through the my thoughts as far as metrics, I'd be glad to do that.
Let me ask you, so just to go a little deeper. So 3 of the shifts you made mentally was, 1, you can go after higher fees by going after higher positions. And you had just, without even consciously thinking about it, so I could be off, but just listening to you, Zander, these are the positions I work. I work 80 to 120K jobs, right? And then I'm a $300,000 biller. I didn't hear you say that, but you pretty much said plus or minus 50 grand. That's where I've been the last few years. Mm-hmm. And you've gone from it being a dream to live abroad to beginning to put the process in place so that it happens in 2022.
Yes.
So those are 3 significant. And so 1, just to be clear, you didn't just start thinking about getting higher fees. You've gotten higher fees.
Yes. Yes.
And what are the things you did I know there's only so much depth we can go into in like 10 minutes, but what are some of the things you did beyond the mental shift to get the higher fees?
I've been actually targeting a little bit larger banks. My typical bank is about 100 million to about 1 billion. Now I'm talking with $1 billion banks to $3 billion banks, and they just have higher salaries, and it's been wonderful. And rather than looking at staff positions, I've been gaining or garnering some market president jobs with the community banks that I deal with. And I mean, they're typically at 150 rather than a staff position at 110 to 120. So I've done very little additionally, and it's going to increase my billings significantly. Does that answer your question?
Yes, yes. And then the other thing was getting retainers, right? You talked about that. And what did you shift to go ahead?
Well, no, finish your thought.
I was going to say, what did you shift to start taking more of those?
Well, I didn't really mention that, but I will. Over the years, I've taken a lot of what I'll call mini retainers. Well, where I'm not afraid to ask, I'll get $1,000. And then about a year ago, I thought it's really prohibitive because it ties up my hands from recruiting from a lot of these community banks. So I went back to straight contingency. And now I'm thinking I can become a trusted advisor very quickly. The clients just like me and they trust me for some reason. I don't know why, but it's worked. And so I'm thinking I do as good of work as other recruiters out there. Why shouldn't I be asking for $5,000 or $8,000 or $10,000 up front? And I actually did that yesterday with a prior client, and I'm pausing and waiting. He says, okay. And I'm thinking, wow, I should have been doing this for the last 2 or 3 or 5 years. So I think it's just asking at this point and hire retainers, which will create more control and more fillability, for lack of a better word, on these searches. So I'll be able to work with less grief or drama or anxiousness and actually do as good or better work and probably bill more money.
Yeah, because you'll be able to invest more in the search itself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you have other questions? Otherwise, I'll talk a little bit about metrics.
Yeah, hold on 1 second on metrics, because what you said is absolutely brilliant in its simplicity is probably the best way to put it. Brilliant in its simplicity.
Mike,
and
nobody's ever called me brilliant before.
Well, good. I'll get you a t-shirt. Mike called me brilliant. That and $5 will be worth about $5. But it's because I love when these calls, especially when they follow Francis's presentation, right? It's you decided to go for a higher fee level. And
Absolutely.
then you did the work on why you were worth it. You decided to ask for, instead of 1,000, 8 to 10,000. Mm-hmm. And then you enhance your technique a little bit to do it. So everything starts with a decision. Everything starts with a decision. And just the way you said, all those areas, I decided I'm going to live abroad. I'm absolutely confident when you and I talk again next year, that's going to happen. Just I hear it in your voice, and it seems like every time you make a decision, it appears to me that you follow through, and then you go through the bumpy period, because when you ask for first retainers, it's a little, anytime you do something for the first time, it's a little bit clunky. Mm-hmm. But I just want to talk about, because Francis talked about the power of decision. You decided in a few major areas inside 3 months and have had all these shifts. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
All right. So you go ahead, tell us, what your experience was with metrics. And then once you started implementing them, what has it enabled you to do? And what would you recommend to the other, to your classmates?
Well, I guess a couple of things. The nice thing is you don't tell somebody what they need to bill. You let the person decide, what would you like to bill in the course of a year? And then you back it down and provide, what does a person need to do on a daily basis? I actually grew up in a training or firm that really stressed first-time interviews. I've done that for years. My placement ratio is 1 out of 6. If it gets out of whack, I either owe the system and I'm going to run behind, or the system owes me and it catches up. I'm at 1.64 right now, year to date. So I'm about ready for a placement. And so if I would like to make 12 placements in a year, I need to do 6 first-time interviews every month. And that's really what my goal has been. The problem has been, you can't really, what you would call, chase a placement. I mean, the placement process is from start to starting of the assignment to start date is 60 or 90 days. So you're looking at 90 days in the future, and it's like, boy, what do I do before then? I mean, I would look at first-time interviews, but what's really been valuable is you've broken that down to a daily basis. If I want to get 6 interviews in a month, here are the number of marketing presentations that I need to make, the number of submittals, the number of job orders, but really the most important number for me is the number of recruiting conversations, recruiting presentations I need to make in a day. And for me, I do it on a weekly basis, it actually comes to 25 in a week. So it's 100 presentations in a month. And that makes sense to me because every day I can say, Did I or didn't I do it? And that's just been wonderful. And to hold myself to that, that could not be more valuable to me. And if I want to increase my billings or keep my billings at the same and decrease my amount of time, I still need to hit 25 recruiting presentations in a week. And that's easy. I mean, it's not easy always to make them, but it's easy to say, I did this on a daily basis, or I didn't, rather than looking 3 months back and saying, well, geez, I should have done this 3 months ago, not having an idea. So truly, that has been invaluable.
So from a standpoint of like peace of mind, like I heard you say this, I know you said it, I'm just summarizing. I know at the end of the day of the week if I'm on target for my placement a
Absolutely.
month versus, to your point, chasing the placement.
That doesn't work. And the nice thing is, getting into the program, you are held accountable for that. I really dislike not meeting my numbers on a Monday morning basis or in the fast start every day. And I worked a lot of extra hours a couple of weeks so I could meet those numbers and not be embarrassed in front of my coach and or in front of the team. And that's been invaluable too, to ingrain me to, Joe, you know what you need to do. You're either going to do it or you're going to read the New York Times, or you're going to sleep or whatever. And at the end of the week, say, yeah, I really did not do my job today. I know when I do my job, and it's been wonderful. So.
Excellent. Kathleen Francis, any questions you want to ask? This has been remarkably helpful.
It was fun to watch Zander shift so quickly into certainty that he'd be living overseas for part of the year last year. And it was fun during Fast Start because every day as his virtual backdrop, he showed a place in the world where he intended to be. So it was so fun and it's, it's like the example Francis shares, where once you make the decision to buy a car, all of a sudden you see that yellow Porsche, Hyundai, whatever your choice is, everywhere on the road. And so it was fun to see that show up for Zander. So thanks for sharing those cool examples, Zander.
And as we speak, I can't turn I have 3 screens. On my big screen, I'm looking at Lisbon, Portugal, as we speak. And I almost feel like I can visualize the apartment that I'm coming out of.
Very cool. And Frances has just shared, I think she's on mute, but I think she has just shared in chat something that Zander really illustrated, and that is, in the absence of data, the subconscious mind. Oh, this is about metrics. This is when you're talking about metrics.
Right.
Oh, God, you take it away, Francis.
Yeah, all that specificity that everyone saw there, that's one of the autopilot things. When we have resistance to metrics, it's the subconscious mind. Like, yeah, don't get those specifics because we want you to stay scared and we want you to stay confused. So it was really beautiful, Zander. Thank you for that, seeing how you really fully embrace that, and then how that kind of in an effortless way shifted your actions. The other thing that I really wanted to point out for everyone on the call is Zander came into the program really aligned. It's been a joy working with you, Zander, just from high gratitude, high energy, really low levels. Like you said, like I didn't even think I had limiting beliefs. You were already doing really well. So while those on the call that put in your, like, if you have 23 hours or above, you're my people in distress. On the flip side of that, for those of you that had like 1 hour or less, you're primed for quantum leaps because you're already focused on the truth, the majority, your inflow energy, the majority. This is where small tweaks, it's like a horse with blinders on. It's a small tweak in thinking that Zander did. Huge direction change in life and business. So that's the other flip side of that. That's really exciting. So thank you, Zander.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's been wonderful. I do have probably 45 seconds more of really cool things that this has meant to me, if we have the time. And if I keep doing this, Mike, I am probably going to ask you for a future payment for my time here.
That'd be wise of you.
I think it's, as you said, dividing it, I'm at $150 an hour billing rate.
We're teaching you way too well, my friend. But anyway, yes.
I think so. And it's been coming into this, I thought I knew a lot about recruiting, and I do have my own way of doing things, and it's worked and it's been good, and I do know a lot. But there's so many more things that I didn't even think. I'll say a few things. First of all, within 2 weeks of your program, I hope you don't mind me calling it your program, your method, whatever you call it, it's been great. I realized this was going to be worth every penny of it within 2 weeks. Now that I'm into it about 3 months, it has been, and it will be even more and more and more. But please do not raise your fees. But
We never raise them on existing clients.
well, you've got me, I guess, at
Okay.
least for another term here. But I guess I did take a few notes. A few things that are really pretty cool. One is this idea of thinking each week or each month the least amount of effort with a project that will have the biggest impact on your business. I mean, it's so simple. I never thought of it that way. So enlisting 3 or 6 or 9 projects, looking at it, the first one was so easy. I've charged 25% of base salary for years. I hear this 30%, 30% of total, 33%. I'm thinking, wow, what's wrong with me? Well, I'm now charging 30% of base salary. Maybe that'll go up. I have not had one existing client have pushback or resistance on that. So I've increased my billings from 300 to 360 without doing anything. So I guess I would say you've paid for yourself just on that. And I guess there's the effort, because there's that 2 seconds of, gee, should I really quote 30%? I did it this morning. And it was like, there's this pause, and the bank president goes, okay. And I'm thinking, wow, this was a no-brainer. So that was one thing. Second of all, what's he going to say here? I can't even read my own writing here.
I have that problem a lot.
The having the coaching support. I've been on my own for a long time, and it's always kind of like, who do I call to ask questions? Nobody. I've got other recruiters that call me. I mean, one's in your program, and when he first started, he was calling me every day, and I give him good advice. I don't mind competition, but when I had a problem, I have nobody that I could really call. Now I do. And I don't want to say a problem, but an item or a question. I mean, Pam's been great. The whole team's been great. Francis, so I can say, well, in fact, I called Pam about 2 weeks ago, and I said, this is the situation. She said, well, it really isn't a coaching thing, but here's my advice. It was great advice. It was consistent with what I thought. Now I've got somebody that can say, and your recruiters just know this business. The other thing is, one of my goals is not necessarily higher billings. It's less hours. I want to work 20 hours a week. I think at this point I'm at 40, which for me is good. And I think by December 1st, I'll be at 32. That's my goal. And then first of the year, I'll be at 20, and I'll be off and running. With the way you've suggested different websites, suggested different outsourcing, different ways to delegate, things that I was keeping in my own bailiwick because I guess I was, hoarding or whatever. I've started to give those things away. They're not only refreshing to me, but they're just taking away hours of time. Then I'll let you go after this. I gave my research analyst my coveted Excel sheet. I do a lot of
not the coveted Excel sheet.
Yeah,
I've given Excel sheets, but I've never given the coveted one.
Yeah, well, on each search, I do a lot of emails. I mean, my thinking over the years has been real consistent with your MPCs. I do it a little bit differently, but and I just do a lot of emails. You wouldn't believe the number. And I've always done the conjectures and so forth. We send out based on the first 3 digits of a zip code. I mean, for what I do, that's perfect. And I've got all the maps and stuff, and I do it. And it takes forever because my count is X, and it comes 300 less X or 600 above X. Then I got to rethink this whole thing. It's about a 2-hour process. I don't really like doing it, but it's been mine. And so 2 weeks ago, I gave my research analyst, I said, you're doing this from now on. And we hired him an assistant right now. So he's giving her his stuff. And he sent it back to me, and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, hate to admit this, he did as good or better of a job than I would. And so now he's done his second one, which was a tough one. And now he's working on his third one. And it's like, Dave, this is great. You're doing a great job. And I'm thinking, this is going to save me 8 hours a month. That's 2 hours a week.
And
This
just
is
to your
great.
point, he's doing better.
Oh, Mike, please. You can't repeat that. I'm going to
No,
have to
because
give him a
but
raise.
your job, your gift, and all of your gifts. This is because it's Xander, such a good point. Your gifts, you're not Google string guys and gals. You're relationship experts.
Absolutely.
You're finding and diagnosing problem experts. Your marriage matchmakers experts. Other people that love the technology part of seeking things and doing research that don't have those same gifts are better than us at that.
Absolutely. And
So there's no
I
shame
really,
there.
yeah, well, thanks.
See, I'm good at almost nothing. If you know, this team does everything for me because they've taken out all my areas of incompetence. So I'm left with about 20 minutes of work a day.
Well, and you know what? I'm starting to think that that's the right thing to do. I wish I would have known this 5 years ago to push it out and really kind of do what I do best, which really is becoming a trusted advisor. So, I mean, I don't have a whole lot more to say. Maybe I would ask you, Mike, if you would look at me and in 12 months would envision what does success look like, what would that be?
For you?
Yeah. No,
based on
that's
what
one
you
of your
said.
questions.
Right. Well, so if I'm asking, well, I'm going to answer based on your answers. I'm saying if, what success would look like, you're asking me what success would look like for you 12 months out, correct?
Absolutely.
Yes. So I would have, at the worst case scenario, have booked at least 3 months somewhere abroad. Whether maybe you're not on the trip yet, but you're just about to go a year from now. Again, being conservative, and that I'm using your numbers. You figured out how to bill $450,000 a year, working 20 hours a week, and doing that abroad.
And you know what? Based on this thinking and mindset and procedures and systems, I really do believe that that's plausible or possible. I guess the last thing I'll leave you with, hopefully one of these Monday mornings, either you or Catherine or Pam or Sarah Lynn or Francis or whoever is going to look in the background and say, hey, that looks like you're sitting in Bordeaux, France, or you're sitting in who knows, Amsterdam. And I'll say, well, by the way, you're right. It happened. So thanks
Awesome.
for everything. It's been worth every minute.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We're all very proud of you. And thanks for your insights. Because I think, kind of takeaways for everyone is, because we talked about this a little bit yesterday, you're finding and continuing to discover ways to add more value at higher fees in less time, right? 2x revenue is not 2x effort. You can do it that way. But I would never want to double revenue and double effort. You're looking at growing revenue 40, 50%, decreasing effort by 50%, which is brilliant, and getting rid of the things that are like research, which I don't think anyone really enjoys doing research. And people that do research justify to themselves, well, I'm working, I'm not screwing around, I'm actually doing research, but it's a $10 an hour job. And if you're billing out at 400,000, that's almost $200 an hour. Thank you so much. I appreciate your insights. That was a lot of fun.